Pastor Ezekiel. Pastor Ezekiel. Pastor Ezekiel. And Pastor Ezekiel. Today, I'm a part of it. It was a disaster, but I think at last, the judiciary has given back Pastor Ezekiel his nyota for him to continue running the church. 4 issues at play. We have gone to the High Court saying that the Registrar of Society's office is a crime zone that needs to be investigated. The acts they've done are criminal in nature. So we shall be writing the letters to the EACC, to the Ombudsman, and the DCI to investigate the disappearance of the file for Pastor Ezekiel's church. And the court has agreed with us, and that is why it has suspended a gazette notice that has been born by acts and omissions of crime. We shall be pursuing after the criminal sanctions. We shall be writing to the Public Service Commission, under which the registrar is an employee pursuant to Article 232 of the Constitution, values and principles of public service. And to get that registrar and the team and the cartel that has been out to ensure the church of Pastor Ezekiel does not proceed. The third issue, there was general misinformation yesterday in social media. One, that the church is closed. The lawyers of Ezekiel are here confirming that the church has never been closed. It has been running. 2, there was also misinformation to the effect that the High Court had denied Pastor Ezekiel the right to proceed and upheld the gazette notice. None of the social medias produced that court order. We have now given you a proper court order that has suspended that gazette notice. So the church is on, the school is on, all the facilities at the ministries of Pastor Ezekiel are on. The third issue we'll want to bring to the attention of the public is the net effect of that gazette notice. This was calculated to take the properties of the church to private people. There is a serious appetite to get Pastor Ezekiel's church properties. Because once you are deregistered, the properties were acquired courtesy of that certification. So we have averted the intention of government to take over the properties, or individuals, government, or cartels in government to corruptly acquire the properties of the church. Lastly, the questions you ask yourself. There is a presidential task force on religious extremism the Registrar of Societies is a secretary to that task force. Yet again, she deregisters the church. A clear, complete conflict of interest. So we are happy that nyota ya Ezekiel imewaka na itaendelea kuwaka, kwa sababu hakuna hata msikiti mmoja ushaifungwa. Hakuna hata temple moja ya Kihindi ishaifungwa. Hakuna shrine hata moja ama kaya yoyote ishaifungwa. Mbona kanisa la Ezekiel linafungwa? Pili, tumeeleza kwa lugha kwamba tutaelekea kwenye asasi za serikali zile zinazo nguvu za uchunguzi wakati ambapo jinai ama crime imefanyika, na tutawaandikia ule DCI, tutawaandikia Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, na ni tunafurahia kwamba kiongozi wa Ethics and Anti-Corruption ni pastor. Kwa hivyo tutamuelezea afanye uchunguzi. Pia tutaelekea kwenye ombudsman kuweza kuangalia mbona mambo yamefanyika vile yalivyofanyika katika ofisi ya Attorney General na katika ile ofisi ya Registrar of Societies. Kisha nilivyosema kwamba tutaweza kuwaandikia na kufuatilia kwa fujo kabisa ule commission wale wa Public Service Commission, sababu ule Registrar of Societies ameajiriwa na Public Service Commission. Ametenda kitendo kinyume cha maadili ya kipengele 232 cha katiba ambacho kinaelezea jinsi ya utendakazi wa wale ambao ni wafanyikazi wa dola. Lakini hayawi huwa nyota ya Ezekiel imerudishwa na Mahakama Kuu ya Taifa la Kenya.
Of cancelling the certificate from the church, New Life Center, is not only damaging, but even the remoteness of it to the downtrodden person is massive. You close the church, you cancel the certificate. What happens? You send people home. You deny people rights to worship. You deny the economic activities that are going on there to proceed on or to develop. You deny people who are employed in the developments that are going there. You actually need to be able to go to New Life Center to see what I'm talking about. Because if I tell you the story, you can only imagine and think. If you go there, if you see the pictures we are posting, you will then understand. For a church that employs 3,000 people per day who take money home, who are employed there, who come and do work in all the developments, plus then the related developments of the structures that have come there, both infrastructures, the houses, the roads and everything along that area, with another 5,000 people self-employed to serve the customers who come there, who are members of the church, and other business people. You have a total of about 8,000 jobs. So our president tells us, let's create jobs. Let's widen the tax bracket. And pastor, by his activities, does that. Then you have somebody who's a registrar who lacks intellectual curiosity, creative thinking, who cannot solve problems but create problems, to cancel a certificate. So you cancel a certificate and all these people go home. All these people go home. How is the agenda of the government being met? Then there are schools. There's the international school that is there. It has students. It has teachers. There's a university being constructed. It's going to create employment. It's going to create employment for the lecturers and students. And then what happens thereafter? The economy develops. But because again of that intellectual curiosity missing, the registrar cancels a certificate. Is this the kind of person that we want to remain in that kind of office? How then does that help anybody? Now, that church, that area, which was just a forest, has developed. It is now open. Water up to 1 million cubic meters available for the use of the facilities as well as the people around there. A place that has an airstrip for people to can be able to land, that can be used to help in issues of transportation. How do you close such projects? How do you then force us to go and enforce our own rights by going to court because you are denying them to us? We are saying we are going to court not because we are willing to go to court, but because our hand has been forced. And our hand has been forced because somebody is trying to deny us our rights. You deny people to worship, you close the church, you close businesses, and you do not care. And then what do? You go and tamper with documents and try to backdate things and hope that our intelligence cannot notice that. Then you come out and you're a public officer and you're acting in such a manner and you think that we will not notice and we will not make noise about it. You are there as a public servant so that you can be able to help the public. You're not a public servant so that you can be able to frustrate them. And that is whereby a person in such an office must be able to do what we call problem solving. But what do? You hide the file. We look for it. Are we willing to pay taxes? Yes. Are we willing to register? Yes. Are we willing to obey the law? Yes. Are we willing to file returns? Yes. But you deny us this opportunity by hiding one single file. And then look at what disaster it can bring about. So we are in court. The court has granted orders. The court has noticed that there is a case that can be argued. It has suspended that certificate because that certificate definitely is a miscarriage of the process that is required by the Registrar of Societies. I am asking once again, is this the kind of person we want in that office?
To feel like we have been redeemed. We have gotten very substantive directions and directives from Lord Justice Jairus Nga, who was the one versed with the matter that is before us today, pertaining Pastor Ezekiel and his church. And it is also a good day for the believers associated with that church, because now their right to continue enjoying the religion of their choice is no longer curtailed. The issue was that the Registrar of Societies had unilaterally or unprocedurally cancelled the registration of the church without the knowledge of actually the members of the church and the chairman of the church and the people who are manning that church. We only found out about it through a gazette notice that was published on the 18th of August, to the effect that the date of cancellation of the church was actually effected on the 19th of May 2023. Now, that should show you, or tells us very clearly, we had already been locked out of the appeal, which the law provides that we should have ideally have appealed to the registrar or to the office of the Attorney General, the minister, so as to be able for the minister to be able to determine it within 90 days. But if you count the days, they do not make sense, and that is why we moved to court promptly through a judicial review application, asking that the court to exempt us from exploring all other mechanisms available to us, because in any case, the Registrar of Societies is the same person who has not been making the file available to our clients to be able to file the returns. Therefore, we saw that we would not be able to get our day of justice, and the court has pronounced itself in a very detailed manner, citing all the things that we were apprehensive about on behalf of our client, and we are glad to see that justice is indeed going to be served. We are going to move with speed to serve the respondents effectively, and also to move towards the substantive stage of the judicial review application. And at the end of the day, justice is going to prevail. We are very thankful to the judiciary for restoring our faith in the system. I yield.
Here, and what we want to tell the public is that we want fair administrative action on the part of state officers mandated to run the affairs of this country. It is not available to them to unilaterally close or purport to cancel certificates when they have underhand dealings of the issues that they are supposed to oversee. Remember, we have always had to engage with the Office of the AG when this file was said to be missing. And this cancellation of the license happened in May, as you've already been told. So is that a fair administrative action on the part of the AG through the Registrar of Societies? The big answer to that is a big no. Number two, it is an issue to the right to worship. The right to worship as enshrined in the Constitution. These are the issues that we're going to canvass before the court. Remember, Pastor Ezekiel's church was again antagonized a few days ago, when they blocked the accounts which were able to move the court and have the same open. So this shows a trajectory that the officers in government who are supposed to execute their mandate as given to them are using that right, that opportunity, the position that they hold, to look down upon people who seem not to be dancing to the tune of how things are done. Because Pastor Ezekiel's church is a church which has presented its credentials, which has run its affairs in a manner that maybe other religious institutions have a huge appetite for, so that they can also run the same. So they want to pull him down to come to the level that he is in, but that is against the law. And as you'll see at the end of the day, because we'll be vindicated at the end of the day, that indeed Pastor Ezekiel's church is a church that follows the law, is a church that gives all the returns, and there is nothing unusual or sinister that is doing to warrant the cancellation of the certificate that they run. The church is open, and let the worshippers get there, congregate, and they enjoy their right of worship as enshrined in the Constitution. Thank you.
Well, members of the fourth estate, as you might have realized of late, that there are some members within the government of the day that have all through been well ill-intended, and they have connived a certain scheme to frustrate the operations of New Life Prayer Center and Church. There has been concerted efforts, equally from some rogue individuals within the government, to ensure that Pastor Ezekiel's ministry is frustrated, and we can see it. Just recently, through a publication dated the 18th day of August 2023, there was a gazette notice that was communicated to the members of the public, indicating that that through a gazette notice dated the 3rd day of August, the cancellation, or rather the registration that was issued to New Life Prayer Center and Church had been cancelled. Through a notification by the Registrar of Societies that was issued sometime on the 19th day of May 2023. As you might be well aware, you will recall that sometime in the month of April, particularly the 25th day of May 2023, we came here and we communicated to you about some shocking revelations that we had received, that there had been a communication from the Registrar of Societies dated the 27th day of April, hinting about the suspension or cancellation of the New Life Prayer Center and Church if certain annual returns were not received by the registrar within 21 days. Now, you will remember that we had rushed to court and we called to question some of this belated notice that our client was receiving. We even called to question why in the first place we were receiving a notification about the intended cancellation of the church, the registration of the church, a month after the notification had been released out. Then we just realized the other day that the registrar had gone ahead, while he had intimated that there was some, some olive branch that had been extended to us. They had gone ahead and caused the deregistration of the church. So because of that deregistration of the church, which was purportedly done on the 19th day of May 2023, we rushed to court through a judicial review application, which was filed before my Lord Justice Jairus Nga. And Jairus Nga, my Lord, has so far ordered that communication, the decision communicating to us about the registration of the New Life Prayer Center and Church has thus far been suspended until the case we have filed before the court is heard and determined. So for the members of the public, just for the benefit of the members of the public, is that we shall be returning to court on the 20th day of September 2023, where we shall receive further directions as to how we are going to dispose of the judicial review application which we have filed before court. But the sum total of what we filed before the court is that we are seeking to quash, or rather to have the notification by the registrar cancelling the certificate that was issued to New Life Prayer Center and Church, cancelled by the orders of the court. Because the same communication has been made in bad faith, the same communication has, of course, been communicated so belatedly to us, so much so that we were all caught flat-footed. We did not know whether this, this communication was even there in the first place. Further to that, we will be urging, because the reason why we are at some war with the office of the registrar is because they allege that we have failed to file our annual returns for the past decade or so, since the year 2012 to the year 2022. But what is not made available to the public is this, that we have all through and through been making available the annual returns for all those years that they have asked for. But for one reason or another, the file that New Life Prayer Center and Church has in the custody of the Registrar of Societies has all through been missing. For some reason or another, it has always been hidden. And the request we've always made to the registrar to make that file available to us has always been declined. They have neglected our request to make that file available to us so that we can file those returns. So in a nutshell, we have asked the court to compel them to make that file available to us. Let them make that file available to us so that we can file our annual returns. The documents are there. We have always made available these documents available to them. But for one reason or another, they have always declined to receive our annual returns. They have always declined to make that file available to us. And we are grateful to the judiciary thus far for at least stamping the authority and ensuring that we balance the scales of justice. We ensure that Pastor Ezekiel and all those who believe in his ministry are given a chance to partake Meza ya Bwana, the sacrament, to ensure that they enjoy their religious beliefs, and of course they congregate, on all those occasions they are called upon to worship their Maker and to give thanks to their Creator. I think that should be all from me. I will pave the floor for, for my...
Indeed, a good day for us as practitioners of the law. The judiciary has firmly